Hey guys, Red Vision here with another video. The new build, Poisonous Concoction. A couple days ago, GGG decided to buff this skill a lot. So, put together a quick build. This isn't fully optimized. Everything you see here is like very quickly thrown together. Some of it's pretty cheap gear. Just the gameplay will explain itself. After the gameplay, I'll go over everything you need to know to get into this build. Alright, we're going to go over the gear. Little disclaimer, you can do this on a budget. The stuff you will see here is expensive, or more expensive gear. You can do this build on a budget. Obviously, you won't do as much damage. However, it still works. The concept's still the same. You can still clear maps. I mean, I'm clearing T15s with ease. I'm one-shotting everything. So even if you took away some of my damage power, I would still be killing stuff. Before I even put this gear on, I made another character. I just said character. I basically kitted him out with gear. I went and bought a bunch of gear because I had currency from this guy. I spent less than probably 70 exalts on the gear, and I was clearing tier 13s, 14s, and 15s at level like 68, 69, and 70. So like I was severely under leveled in the zone. I think I have a screenshot somewhere where I was total XP was like 580 million or something, and I was making like 600 million XP an hour because I was just so under leveled and I was just killing everything. So it is doable. You can do it on budget gear. You don't have to have super high end gear for this to work. Obviously, I have higher end gear because I have currency and I want to kill, pinnacle bosses and stuff. So first thing you're going to want to get is a Widow Hail. Paid 1 div for this because it was the best one for 1 div, and I didn't want to spend more than 1 div for what it's worth. You can pick one up that's like 200 to 230% increase bonuses for less than 10 exalts. Super cheap. You have to have one of these. It's part of the concept of the build. With that in mind, I'll explain why you want the increased bonuses. Because of your quiver and your amulet, you get plus level of all prod skills. You want +2 on your quiver. It's the highest it can roll. with your bow and your quiver, that level gets bumped up a ton. As you can see here, I have plus 11 from all my modifiers. It can go even higher. I don't even have this fully optimized, but that's what you want. Plus level of prod skills. Everything else is quality of life. This isn't even the best base. You're going to want attack speed. So after prod skills, it's probably just attack speed. You can get prod speed as well and accuracy, but it doesn't really matter that much as the prod level and attack speed. There is one thing to note. This is a bugged interaction. No one's sure if it's actually applying or not, but people did some testing. Increased damage with bow skills is applying to our peacock. That will probably get patched, so don't focus on it too much. But if you have the currency laying around and you want a little extra damage up front, like for an investment before it gets patched, increased damage with bow skills, it does apply. It's for whatever reason, it applies. No one knows why. No one's really sure. Other people have noticed it, so take that with a grain of salt. It probably will get patched, and I wouldn't focus on that modifier too much unless you have the currency laying around to get a bow with it as well. Next thing you're going to want is an amulet. I paid less than 10 exalts for this amulet. Plus 2 level of all prod skills with good max life. That was the only thing I looked for in this amulet. Everything else just didn't really matter to me, to be honest. If you can get resistances, if you can get, other stuff, great. The two main things you want, level of all prod skills, max life. The amulet can go up to plus 3. Those get pricier. I have plus 2. That one level can make a big difference at the later levels. However, if you are doing on a budget, you can go with a plus 2. Everything else is a little more straightforward. We're going to go to the belt though next. This is one specific base you want. Flask gain charges per second. Max life, resistances, and flask charges gained. That's what you want on it. The flask charges gained help with flask sustain, so you never run out of charges to throw it. The next thing, this is optional. You don't have to use these boots. I use them because it's more damage. It helps with clearing juiced breaches and rituals. It kind of gives you like zone control. So if you're getting swarmed in a breach, you can back up into your gas and it'll just give you that layer of defensive for like getting poison spread as you're throwing at other mobs. So it does help with AoE clear. Peacock does it pretty good on its own with the poison spread and everything. However, this just adds a little bit of extra to it. Now, if you want more movement speed and defensives, you can just go with regular boots. This isn't mandatory. I think it looks cool. I like it. And it does help with rituals and breaches. So I do use it. You can use regular boots. Up to you. Another thing that you're going to want to get is flask charge. Your flask modifier. Gain charges per second on the mana flask. This coupled with your belt and increased flask charges gained. And I even have Alchemist boons. I could literally sit here and throw my flask for a while before I run out. It just keeps going because you're just gaining charges like crazy. Like look, I've thrown it so often, and I'm just now getting to about half, as you can see here. That doesn't even include killing mobs. So you honestly, you can maybe forego this belt base if you're running Alchemist boon, and I'll go over that in the gym section. And you can use a different base, like the one that gives you life recovery. I haven't messed around with it too much. I just went with this just to make sure I had flask charges. So if you want to be on the safe side, use this. It's also nice for bosses if you don't just delete the boss right away, because there's no mobs to kill. So keep that in mind. Everything else, max life, resistances, maybe some rarity if you can get it. The rings, you can get increased chaos damage, but it doesn't do a whole lot for your DPS. You can see on the left there, 17.8 to 17.4. That 11% isn't anything crazy. You don't need it. It is a little bit more damage, so like if you want it, go ahead. But max life, rarity, resistances. And then, yeah. Pretty self-explanatory. Gloves, you can get a little fancy with the gloves if you want. These gloves aren't even good. I don't even have the gloves I'm about to explain to you. You're going to want max life. You can get attack speed and then resistances. But really just max life and resistances. Attack speed is just the quality of life. We're going to go over the skill tree now. I'm going to do this really quick. It's pretty self-explanatory, to be honest. I'll make note of like a couple nodes. Like for example, acrobatics. I'll make note of when you want to take that. However, it's just path through. You're just grabbing the poison nodes. and for damage. So if you need more damage, grab all the poison nodes, chaos nodes. I grabbed this because it's movement speed and proj damage and proj speed, so it does apply. As you'll notice, I'll explain this real quick. I don't take this. It only applies 7 stack of withered, which is 7%. It might be a little bit more because of the increased effect, but it's like maybe 7-10% increased damage for 3 points. You can take those 3 points and put it in something like this. That gives you close to 50% increased attack damage, which does apply to our Peaconk. So it's just you get more value for those 3 points on other spots. If you have the extra points laying around, you can take it if you want. It's up to you. I don't like it. I don't think that node's very good. Like I said, just damage nodes and evasion-based nodes. One thing to note, you don't want to take acrobatics until you have a lot of evasion. When you put a point into acrobatics, you want to make sure your evasion is at least minimum 60%. As you can see here, when I roll, I get 66%. The closer to 70, the better. If you can get it over 70, fantastic. Our Ascendancy, very straightforward, self-explanatory. Poison nodes, Peaconk, because that's what you're using. 6 skill points. We don't take the flash charges gained. We don't need it. There's already plenty of sustain. So for jewels, I don't have any of these jewels yet. I actually haven't even invested in these jewels yet. I just joined the jewels straight from my Poison Burst build. So I just have Poison Duration, Damaging Elements, and Magnitude of Poisons. Attack speed of bows. So it's like not even like optimized. The real value that comes from these jewels is increased bonuses gained from equipped quiver. One thing to note is they're not going to be the cheapest, but you can pick some up for like, this is like the cheapest one for exalted orbs. It's not terrible. Proj damage, poison duration, increased bonuses gained from quiver. This is what you want. This modifier stacks with your bow and everything. It just gives you more levels to your skill, do more damage. Just be aware of that. As you can see here, I changed it to exalted orbs. The game does think divine orbs are cheaper than exalted orbs. That's not always the case. Like if I were to scroll down, it's got the 20 exalted orbs listed below 3 divine orbs. This is definitely cheaper than 3 divine orbs. Keep that in mind. But if you really wanted to min-max it, like I said, I'll throw this in here. If you didn't care about bonus from quivers, I'll have a second link. It'll essentially just be this. So instead of guaranteeing increased bonuses gained from quiver, it'll just show any 2 of these modifiers. So if you wanted to do it, you could bump it up to 4. And so it guarantees 4 of those modifiers from this list on a jewel. You just scroll down. They'll be a little bit pricier. You probably won't find as much. So I usually do 3. And there you go. You can just exalt this yourself. And maybe you hit something good. But it's usable. It's damage. You can get them cheap. We're going to go over the gems. We're going to start with Peaconk, because this is basically a one-button build. I don't really use the curse or the totem you see down here unless I'm killing like an endgame boss or something. So, with that in mind, you put Scattershot, Comorbidity, Deadly Poisons, and Chaos Infusion. Once I get a high enough level for this last link, I'll just put Chaos Mastery for +1 level, so I get more levels, because the whole concept is to get the highest levels possible. For those of you that are running the boots, if you do decide to use those unique boots, I use Bursting Plague, Persistence, Momentum, and Magnified Effect. It's pretty self-explanatory. More AoE, Gas Cloud lasts longer. You're running around to proc it, so you're moving, so it just gives it 40% more damage. And Bursting Plague for a little bit more bursting damage when you're retreating into it and mobs are like swarming you. So we're going to go over the buffs real quick. Your heralds, or spirit buffs, whatever you want to call them. I use Alchemist Boon. You don't really need this for the flask sustain. I use it because I play with friends, so I get the recovery of my flask is also granted to my allies. So when I pop a life flask or whatever, they get my life flask as well. And the flask charges are nice for bosses, but this isn't really mandatory. When you're mapping, you don't really run out. If you find you're running out, turn this on. I use Herald of Plague So one thing to note is you can choose between Herald of Plague or Plague Bearer. If you want another ability to press, you can use Plague Barrel. You can put like Astral Projection on it and cast where you want it. I find that Peacock does everything that Plague Bearer can do if I have these boosts, because these boosts essentially give me that, you know, AoE around me that Plague Bearer would give. So I don't ever turn this on. I just have it here to talk about. It is an option if you like it. I use Herald of Plague specifically for 2 reasons. The spread is larger on this Herald than our Ascendancy point, and it gives you a chance to hinder enemies. So slows them down if they get poisoned, so it prevents them from rushing you as much. Like I said, this is 1.5 meters. This is 1.8 at the level I have it at, and I only have it at level 17. It goes to like 2 as you get at the higher level, if not even higher. So I use this for mapping. Then we have Wind Dancer for the defensive buff. Blind, maim, so that they maim mobs on hit. Blinds them on hit, so if they hit you, they get blinded, maimed. And then Precision for accuracy. You can use other stuff if you have a little extra spirit, but I had 10 spirit left over. This is really the only one you can throw in there. One thing to note, you'll see I have Withering Presence here. When I go to kill like a breach boss, or I'm using for single target, just turn off Herald of Plague, turn on Withering Presence. This just keeps the withered buffs on the boss, so he just takes more damage when you're standing near him. Herald of Plague doesn't do anything for single target. It's literally for mapping. So just make sure, if you want a little bit more single target damage, turn on Withering Presence. Otherwise, I leave Herald of Plague on. We'll go over Despair and Dark Effigy. I only use these for bosses as well. So we'll go over Despair first. Heightened Curse, Arcane Tempo, Focus Curse, Cast faster, procs faster, increase effect. It's essentially all it is. We have the Totem Dark Effigy. This is so we can apply Withered, more stacks of Withered with the Aura for bosses. So Withering Touch, so everything hits, Withering Touch. Ancestral Urgency, so I just summon it faster. This last one's a flex. You can use whatever you want here. Personally, I like Acceleration because I'm only using it on bosses. It makes the projectiles that come out from the totem faster, so it just hits the boss faster, so it gets the debuff faster. You can use whatever you want. You can give it like resistances or something else. It's really up to you. It's flex. Use it however you want. It's just personal preference. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. As you can tell, I am not even fully optimized yet. There's definitely pieces here I can upgrade really easily. I don't even have my lightning res capped. I don't even have all my runes socketed. There's a lot of upgrades to be had. I could get way better jewels, and you can see how fast I'm deleting stuff, and I haven't even like optimized this yet. So I wanted to rush to get this video out to you guys so you could, enjoy this build. If you have any suggestions, ideas on ways to improve the build, feel free to let me know in the comments below. Like I said, I'm looking to optimize it, messing around with some stuff. I may or may not put another video out. There's not really a whole lot more to optimizing it other than what I already discussed, from what I understand. It's a pretty straightforward, simple build. If you have any other content you might want to see, also don't hesitate to let me know. It'd be appreciated. Please like and subscribe. It would mean the world to me. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.